Well, when I read it, I had felt like most of the romantic comedies being made at that time were pretty surface level, glossy,
Mm,
more the fantasy version of love that we want to go to the movies to see.
right.
But there hadn't been one recently that I could think of that was really sort of messy and grounded, but still, fun and still entertaining. And this is such a high concept, a crazy concept,
Right.
but it looks at that in such a real and what would you really do? How would this really make you feel? So it felt like a way to combine like classic old-fashioned rom-coms with very contemporary story and a very contemporary. So that was the appeal. Well, I wish I could take more credit for creating it, but it's often a case of it's either there or it's not. And in casting, I really tried to make sure I felt like there was going to be a mutual respect and a mutual excitement about working with each other, because I feel like that's always the first step to good chemistry. And then when we were actually filming, I felt the chemistry was there, but it was sometimes a tricky balance of, they spend a lot of the movie arguing with each other, but
Right.
you always want to feel like underneath it, there's love. And so what we were trying to be careful of that. And there's one scene where they're arguing in the parking lot about how excited or not excited he is that she's having a girl. And I wanted to make sure that even though they're arguing, there's still tender moments. So he gives her his jacket because she's cold, and he wipes a tear away with his thumb. So even though maybe the words that they're saying are combative, but their actions are still loving and tender. Yeah, I think that that character is the one that I did the most work on once
Mm,
I became involved, and because in the script, the first script I read, she was a bit more fully Christian and a little bit more stereotypical religious, and you could just pin all of her decisions based on the fact that she was super Christian. And
right.
that to me felt a little uninteresting. So
Right.
I wanted to work with both the writer and Ruby to find a version of the character who maybe has that background, but is not necessarily driving every aspect of her life.
Right.
And also she doesn't have to explain everything. We don't need to know why she makes the decisions she makes. It's just something that she feels deeply, and we all have things that we have sort of randomly decided are our own personal moral lines. So I just thought that was the more interesting version of the character, and then Ruby brought that to life in an even more layered way than we had it on the page. Yeah, those are my kids in the movie. I think they were 4 and 2 at the time.
Mhm.
And I mean, really, it was there was a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old needed for the script, and I just thought, well, I mean, might as well. I didn't think that they were gonna be good. I actually was more worried about this than anything else in the movie. They
Right.
would just freeze and only look at me and not be able to do anything. But I thought, well, I might as well take my chances with my kids versus finding local 4 and 2-year-old, because that'll maybe be the same situation. And then luckily we just made it fun, and they didn't know that cameras were rolling necessarily. And my son just got to play Uno with Jonah, and my daughter could just wander around and make messes. And so they got to just sort of act normally. And it was great because then ordinarily, if my family visited on the set, I would be too busy to actually play with them or be with them. But because they got to be in it, they were on the set all day too. And so the whole work day became a play day for all of us. So it was a lot of fun. Well, I always like and prefer to go to a place to shoot a movie that not a million other movies have been shot there.
Right.
And so Little Rock was presented as an option, even, and I'd never been there before, but I just knew that it would probably be a place that felt unique in some way. I wouldn't know what way, and I wouldn't know how to capture it necessarily, but you just go and you hope that by virtue of being there, something intangible seeps into the movie. And, because you cast local people, and so the local people are in the movie, and the locations, all of it. So it was that was the main reason that brought us there. I wanted to try and go to somewhere, and I'm sure for you, are you in Japan?
Usually from Japan, but I'm based in New York right now.
Okay, but
Right.
yeah, I mean, imagining an audience in Japan maybe watching it, and it's so great to feel like introducing audiences in different parts of the world to a place that otherwise they wouldn't see, or if they do, an Arkansas movie is usually about like the backwoods or the Ozarks or something. So this
Right.
is just showing real people in real situations in a place that doesn't often get the spotlight shown on it.
Okay. Well, they told me to wrap it up. I had a good time talking to you, Just. Thank you for doing the interview.
Thank
Appreciate it.
you.
Take care. Bye bye.